What if I told you that the most powerful object described in the Bible was never a metaphor, never symbolic, but a real, physical object, so dangerous that touching it could kill you instantly? An object said to summon plagues, split rivers, and level entire cities, and then it vanished without a trace. Today, we're diving deep to uncover the truth, the mystery, and the unanswered questions behind the one and only Ark of the Covenant. So, what exactly was the Ark? Forget what you've seen in movies. According to the book of Exodus, this wasn't just any old sacred box. This was an object designed by God Himself. When God spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, He gave him exact measurements. We're talking precise instructions, not suggestions or artistic freedom. The ark was to be made of acacia wood, a tough, durable desert tree, and completely overlaid inside and out with pure gold. On top sat a lid called the mercy seat, which was guarded by two golden cherubim, their wings outstretched, facing one another. This wasn't just decoration. It was considered the very earthly throne of God's presence. And what was inside this incredible container? Three incredibly sacred items. First, the two stone tablets inscribed with the Ten Commandments, given directly to Moses. Second, a golden jar of manna, the mysterious food that sustained the Israelites in the desert for 40 years. And third, Aaron's rod, a simple staff that had once miraculously bloomed with almond blossoms overnight to prove his authority as high priest. This wasn't just a religious artifact. It was a mobile sanctuary, a physical manifestation of God's covenant with His people. It was the holiest object in existence, and where it went, the presence of the divine followed. But was the ark just a throne, or was it also a weapon? The answer seems to be both. Wherever the ark went, raw power followed. When the Israelites finally reached the Promised Land, they came to the Jordan River at flood stage. The priests, carrying the ark on long poles, simply stepped into the water, and the river stopped flowing, piling up in a heap miles away so the entire nation could cross on dry ground. Then there was the infamous Battle of Jericho. The Israelite army marched around the city once a day for 6 days, with the ark at the center of their procession. On the seventh day, they circled it 7 times. The priests blew their trumpets, the people shouted, and the massive walls of Jericho just collapsed. No siege weapons, no scaling ladders, no direct battle. Just the power emanating from the Arkansas. But this power had a terrifyingly lethal side. The ark wasn't always merciful, and it demanded absolute respect. There's a chilling story about a man named Uzzah. The ark was being transported on an ox cart, and when the oxen stumbled, Uzzah reached out his hand to steady it, to stop it from falling. A natural, well-intentioned reflex, right? Wrong. He was struck dead on the spot. Instantly. No warning, no second chance. The message could not have been clearer. This was not an object to be treated lightly or handled by just anyone. It was a conduit of immense, untamable power, and disrespecting its sanctity had fatal consequences. Eventually, the unthinkable happened. During a disastrous battle, Israel's sworn enemies, the Philistines, captured the Arkansas. They must have thought it was the ultimate victory, a sign that their god, Dagon, was more powerful. They brought the ark back to one of their major cities and placed it in the temple of Dagon as a trophy. Or so they thought. The next morning, the statue of Dagon was found toppled over, face down on the floor before the Arkansas. They propped it back up, but the following day, it was down again, this time with its head and hands broken off. And that was just the beginning. The city was struck with a horrifying plague of tumors. Panic spread like wildfire. They moved the ark to another Philistine city, and the same thing happened there. And then a third city, with the same deadly results. Terrified, the Philistines knew they had to get rid of it. They placed the ark on a brand new cart, hitched it to 2 cows that had never been yoked, and sent it off toward Israelite territory, without any guards, without any demands. They were so desperate to be free of its curse that they just let it go. Even Israel's enemies learned to fear it. For years after its return, the ark was the centerpiece of Israel's worship, eventually finding its home in the Holy of Holies, the innermost sanctuary of King Solomon's magnificent temple in Jerusalem. And then silence. After Solomon's reign, the Bible's detailed historical records continue, mentioning kings, wars, and prophets, but the ark just fades from the story. It vanishes from the biblical record. There's no account of it being captured in a later battle, No description of it being destroyed. No explanation for its disappearance. It's one of history's greatest cold cases. So where did it go? Theories have been flying around for centuries. One popular belief is that the priests, foreseeing the Babylonian invasion and the destruction of the temple, secretly hid the ark in a hidden chamber deep beneath the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, where some believe it remains to this day. Another, more dramatic theory claims it was taken out of Israel altogether, embarking on an incredible journey south. Or perhaps the most profound idea is that it was intentionally removed from the world by divine will, because humanity was no longer ready for, or worthy of, such a direct connection to that kind of power. The simple, frustrating truth is, the Bible never tells us. This leads us to one of the most compelling and controversial claims in the world today. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church makes a truly bold assertion. They say they have the real Ark of the Covenant. According to their sacred national epic, the Kebra Nagast, the Queen of Sheba visited King Solomon, and their son, Menelik, later traveled to Jerusalem and brought the ark back with him to Ethiopia. They claim it now rests in a small chapel, the Chapel of the Tablet, next to the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in the holy city of Aksum. It is said to be guarded by a single, virgin monk, a guardian who is appointed for life and is the only person on earth allowed to see it. He can never leave the chapel grounds. When he dies, another is chosen to take his place. No photographs are allowed. No scientific inspections are permitted. The world must take it on faith. Is it just a centuries-old legend, a powerful national myth? Or is it the greatest and most successfully guarded secret in human history? So, why does this ancient story still matter so much to us today? The mystery of the Ark of the Covenant forces us to ask some really uncomfortable questions. What if ancient people understood a form of power, a connection between the physical and the spiritual, in ways our modern, scientific minds can't easily grasp? What if faith and what we call technology weren't always two separate things? And what if some of the greatest truths of our past weren't actually lost, but were intentionally hidden for our own protection? Whether the Ark was a divine throne, a symbolic treasure, an ancient piece of high technology, or something far more complex that we can't even imagine, its story refuses to die. It captures our imagination because it represents a tangible link to the divine, a source of unimaginable power, and an ultimate, unsolved mystery. Because maybe, just maybe, some mysteries are not meant to be solved, only remembered. If this story made you think, question, or wonder, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more hidden histories and ancient mysteries. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.